He had everything money could buy, but inside, he was completely broken. So he hired a nurse, just to care for his dying mother. Simple job. No emotions. No attachments. But the moment she stepped into his silent mansion, something felt different. She brought warmth, where there was only cold. She made his mother smile again. And that was the first shock. The second, he saw him. Not the billionaire. Not the power. But the man, hiding behind years of pain. And when a locked room, filled with his darkest past, finally opened, what she uncovered changed everything. This is not just a love story. It is about healing, about loss, about the one person who walks into your darkness and refuses to leave. Before we dive into the incredible story, do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you never miss our powerful, life-changing content. Thank you for listening to this heartfelt story. If it moved you, share it, comments below, and let someone know you are never alone. I hired her. For my mother. Nothing more. The house stood silent. White hallways. Cold marble floors. Echoing a life that had forgotten warmth. Then she arrived. Soft footsteps. Gentle voice. Eyes that carried storms, yet chose kindness. The first night, I heard something unfamiliar. Laughter. It startled me. I stood still. Outside my mother's door. Heart uneasy. Like a stranger in my own home. She sat beside her, holding her fragile hand, speaking softly, as if every word mattered. And my mother smiled. I had not seen that in years. Something twisted inside me. Uncomfortable, sharp, unwelcome. Days passed. She moved through the house, like light slipping through cracks, touching everything, without asking. Flowers appeared, windows opened, and changed me. I remained distant, watching. One evening, I entered the room. Too suddenly, my mother slept, peacefully. The nurse looked at me. Daddy, you carry too much silence, she said. The words hit harder than anger. My chest tightened. The walls felt closer. The air heavier. No one spoke to me like that. No one saw me. But she did. I stepped back. Uneasy. Something inside me shifted. Crack. Dangerous. Days later, rain poured outside. Wild and relentless. My mother's breathing faltered. Sharp. Uneven. Fear gripped me. Unfamiliar. Froze. She did not. Her hands moved quickly. Confident. Steady. Her voice guided the storm. Inside that room. Stay with me, she whispered. I realized. She spoke to both of us. Time stretched. Each second louder than thunder. In silence. My mother breathed again. Alive. Relief crashed through me, leaving me exposed. Turned away. But my vision blurred. Of course she saw. And then, unexpected, her hand touched mine. Warm, steady, real. The shock ran deep. No fear, no judgment, just understanding. You are allowed to feel, she said. Something broke. Not loudly, but completely. Years of emptiness. Power without warmth. Success without soul. Collapsed. And in that quiet ruin, he stayed. Not as someone I hired, but as someone who chose to remain. And slowly, carefully, taught my heart how to live again. And for the first time, the silence inside me felt like it might, one day, turn into something beautiful. And that fragile feeling terrified me, 'cause beauty meant loss. And I had already lost too much. Began to avoid her. Longer hours, closed doors, empty meetings that meant nothing. Yet her presence followed. In the scent of fresh tea, left quietly on my desk. In the soft hum of a song she sang to my mother. In the way the house refused to feel lifeless again. One night, the power failed. Darkness swallowed everything. Sudden, thick, unforgiving. My breath caught. Old memories surged. Cold nights, lonely rooms, a younger version of me, learning how to survive. Without comfort, the silence felt different now. Heavier, 'cause I knew what warmth felt like. "Sir," her voice, tough, searching. Footsteps approached, low, careful, and a small flame. Candlelight trembled between us. Her face glowed, gentle, real. "You are shaking," she said. Had not noticed, but I was. The room felt smaller, walls closing in, heartbeat loud. "I am fine," I answered. But the lie cracked. Midway, she stepped closer. No hesitation, no fear, just presence. Her hand reached mine again. Steady, grounding, the same shock, but deeper this time, like something inside me recognized her before I did. "Stay," I heard myself say. The words slipped out, unplanned, honest. She stayed. We sat in silence, lit by a fragile flame, while the storm outside raged without mercy, and inside, another storm rose. Memories, regret, unspoken grief. "I built everything," I whispered, and still felt nothing. My voice sounded distant, even to me. She listened, not to respond, but to understand. "That happens," she said softly, "when the heart is left behind." The words settled deep, too deep. My chest tightened again, but this time, I did not step away. The candle flickered, casting shadows that danced across the walls, like pieces of a past I had buried. Her thumb brushed lightly over my hand, simple gesture, yet it unraveled me. "You are not alone anymore," she said. The sentence lingered, dangerous, hopeful, impossible. Something shifted again, stronger now, pulling me toward a truth I was not ready to face. I looked at her, really looked. Quiet strength, the hidden pain, the kindness she gave, without asking anything in return. And for a moment, fear returned, not of darkness, but of needing her, because needing meant risking, and risking meant falling. Yet my hand remained in hers, and I made no attempt to pull away, while the flame between us burned lower, softer, and the distance I had built for years began to disappear, inch by inch, breath by breath, until even the silence felt like it was waiting for something neither of us was ready to name. For something neither of us was ready to name. The candle bent, its flame thinning, fighting the dark, and I realized I was doing the same. Days changed after that. Not suddenly, not loudly, but in quiet shifts. I began to stay longer in the same room, listening to her speak, to my mother. Stories, simple, warm, stories I had never known. I needed. One afternoon, sunlight poured through the windows, soft gold, dust floating like time itself. My mother laughed again, full laugh, alive, and I felt it, deep in my chest, sharp, almost painful. Turned away, but she noticed. Of course she noticed. "You are afraid of happiness," she said. No judgment, just truth. The words unsettled me, more than darkness ever had. Because she was right. Happiness felt fragile, temporary, like something that could vanish the moment I reached for it. "I lose everything I care about," I said. Quiet, honest. The room stilled. Even the air seemed to listen. She stepped closer, not rushing, never rushing. "You are allowed to keep something," she whispered. Her voice carried weight, not hope alone, but experience, as if she had fought the same battle and survived. Something inside me leaned toward her, without permission, without logic, just instinct, and sound, sharp, unexpected. Glass shattered in the next room. My body tensed instantly, alert, guarded. The moment broke, like the silence before it. I moved quickly, heart racing, He followed. Close. Steady. We entered the room. Window open. Curtains wild in the wind. Vase lay broken. Pieces scattered like fragments of control. The air felt wrong. Too cold. Too sudden. My chest tightened again. Not fear. Something else. A warning. Turned. And saw her. Standing still. Watching the broken glass. But her expression had changed. No softness. No calm. Just something distant. Something guarded. As if a wall had risen. Inside her. Just as mine had begun to fall. Do you hear that? She asked. Her voice quieter now. Different. I listened. First. Nothing. Then. Faint. Beneath the wind. Sound. Rhythmic. Uneven. Like footsteps. Or something trying to reach us. The house felt larger suddenly. Emptier. Every hallway stretching into shadow. My pulse quickened. Not from fear alone. But from the shift. From something I could not understand. I looked at her again. And for the first time, I realized there were parts of her I had never seen. And something told me those parts were about to surface. Whether I was ready or not. The wind howled louder. The curtains snapped violently. And the door behind us moved slowly, with a quiet creak. As if the house itself was beginning to reveal what had been hidden all along. The door moved, inch by inch. A slow breath of wood and shadow. My pulse echoed, loud and steady. Yet she did not step back. She moved forward, past the broken glass, past the cold air, into the hallway that suddenly felt too long, too quiet. Followed, not out of courage, but because something in me refused to let her face anything alone. The sound came again, softer now, like a memory brushing the walls. Up. We reached the end of the corridor, place rarely used, a place I had sealed years ago. My chest tightened. Recognition. Unwelcome. Sharp. That room, I said. My voice low. Drained. She turned to me. I searching. You avoid it, she whispered. Not a question. Truth. The handle stood still. Yet the air around it felt disturbed. As if something waited. Not to harm. But to be seen. My hand hesitated. Midair. Old fear. Old pain. Pressing against my ribs. I lost her there, I said. Barely audible. The words tasted heavy. Like grief that never left. Her expression softened again. That quiet strength returning. Then maybe something of you stayed there too, she said. The sentence struck deep. Deeper than anything before. For a moment, I could not breathe. And her hand found mine. Warm. Certain. Guiding. Not forcing. Together, we turned the handle. The door opened, slowly, revealing a room untouched by time. Furniture covered in silence, air thick with absence, and memories, waiting. The scent hit first. Faint perfume. Familiar. Impossible. My chest cracked open. Grief rushing back. Unfiltered. I stepped inside. Each movement heavier. As if the past itself pulled at me. She stayed close. Not speaking. Just there. Always there. My gaze fell. On the old chair. Where everything had ended. Where I had learned how to feel nothing. And survive. Sound escaped me. Not quite a breath. Not quite a voice. Something in me gave way. Finally. Completely. I sank down. The weight of years. Pressing through me. And then. Her arms. Around me. Steady. Gentle. Real. No distance. No hesitation. Just warmth. Shared. Freely. The shock returned. But softer now. Transforming. Into something I could almost name. The room shifted. Not in structure. But in feeling. As if the past loosened its grip. Just enough. For something new. To enter. My hand tightened around hers. Instinctively. Holding on. Not to memory. But to her. And in that fragile moment, between what was lost and what could still be found, I realized the pain had never truly wanted to stay. It had only waited for someone strong enough to walk into it with me. And she had, without fear, without question, as if she already knew this was only the beginning of something far deeper than either of us had dared to face, of something far deeper, inevitably, like a truth that would soon demand to be felt fully, and that truth finally asked to be spoken. Days unfolded, no longer heavy, no longer empty. The house breathed again, warmth in every corner, light in every silence. My mother grew stronger, her laughter returning, like music we had both forgotten, and her eyes, they watched us, quietly, knowingly. One evening, the sky burned gold, soft and endless. She stood by the window, a nurse, the woman who had become something far beyond a name. "You are different now," she said. I stepped beside her, closer than before, closer than I ever allowed anyone. "You stayed," I replied. Simple, honest. She smiled, but there was something fragile in it, something uncertain. "I was only meant to heal your mother," she whispered. The words lingered, boundary, unspoken until now. My chest tightened, not with fear, but with clarity. For once, everything inside me felt certain. "You healed more than that," I said, my voice steady, strong in a way it had never been. Her eyes searched mine, as if looking for doubt, but found none. The silence between us changed, no longer waiting, no longer afraid, just ready. I reached for her hand, slowly, giving her time to step away. She did not. Her fingers closed around mine, warm, and in that moment, nothing else mattered. Not the past, not the loss, not the years I spent hiding from life. Only this, only her. My mother's voice broke the stillness, gentle, filled with quiet joy. "Some hearts meet late," she said, "but they love deeply." We turned, and I saw it. It's real, complete, and I understood. Love had never been about timing, or perfection, or avoiding pain. It had always been about choosing to stay, to understand, to carry each other through the broken places. Instead of running from them, I looked back at her, this woman who walked into my silence and filled it with life, and I knew this was not something I would lose. Because this time, I was not holding on out of fear, but out of truth. And truth, when shared with a kind heart, does not break, builds, slowly, beautifully, endlessly. And as the last light of day faded, felt it fully, a quiet certainty, that even in the hardest moments, there are souls, gentle, patient, brave, ready to step into our darkness, not to change who we are, but to remind us we were never meant to face it alone.